A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you're doing good. Today is 9th of June 2020 days, Tuesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Heraclitus. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. If you observe the flow of river, if you observe the flow of life, and if you observe the flow of time, then you will find that this flow is always moving on, right? It's always moving on. And in this moment, if we talk about our life and time, then we find that every second is becoming part of grand old history, and every second is bringing this grand new future in our life. It's wonderful, isn't it? Just think about it. I want you guys to observe and think about this thing, and then you will find that Heraclitus is right, that no man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he is not the same man. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. Now this smart course is for Civil Services Examination. This smart course is designed by some of the best faculties of our country. It covers both your pre as well as mains examination. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Till 10th June 2020, that is today and tomorrow, we are offering EMI option as well. So make the most out of this thing too. I have already shared the PDF of today's discussion on my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook. Dear friends, there are thousands of students out there. They are not aware about a video series, a lecture series that delivers Hindu analysis in English language. Students from South India and students from Northeast India, they're not aware about it. So I request you guys, because you are the brand ambassador of this series, you are the ones who are watching this series for a very long period of time now. You know the quality of this series, so please make sure that you share this lecture on regular basis on various different platforms. Thank you very much to all those students who are doing it on regular basis. You have no idea how much you are supporting us. Thank you. If you like today's discussion, then hit the like button, and to support our overall efforts, hit the subscribe button. Today we have 5 important articles on our table. The first one, step by step, it's about India and China. This one is about the space sector of USA, and then we are going to talk about space sector of India. Third one is very interesting, sea blindedness, fighting sea blindedness. What exactly is the meaning of sea blindedness? We'll talk about it. Then we have EDiplomacy experiment, very important thing. We are going to talk about some diplomatic points, right? Some things that are very much important in the world of diplomacy. And the last one is going to be about India and Nepal. So let's crack on with this one. Step by step, it's about India and China. As we all know that this standoff that is going on between India and China at present, it's been nearly a month-long standoff now. It's going on or along the LAC, that is a line of actual control. There are two predominant portion. One is Ladakh region and the second one is Sikkim region. So Ladakh is on your screen. The actual map of Ladakh is here on your screen. So this whole portion is Ladakh. Unfortunately, this Aksai Chin portion of India is at present under China's control, as you can see here. So here you find this is LAC, right? This red line here represents the line of actual control. So Galwan Valley is here. Then you find Hot Springs here. Then you have Dambu here, and Dambu Guru is here, and then Pangong Lake. This is over here. So these are some points where we find, or geographical locations where we find this ongoing standoff between India and China. So here, right? The second portion is Sikkim that you can see here. So right at the north tip of Sikkim, you find here Nakula. So here as well, standoff is going on. Okay, so as far as this cartographical points are concerned, right, I'm sure now things are clear to you. Anyway, we have talked about this thing a few days ago as well. So this was just a revision, as well as for those students, if this is your first time, if you are for the first time you're following this lecture, then I have already showed you today as well, the important locations. Now what you have to do is you have to download the PDF of today's lecture, and please make sure, if you are new, if you have just started preparing for civil services examination or any other competitive exam, then don't rush. Take your time, take 10 minutes, right, and observe this whole region. Zoom and observe this region, right? See each and every point, and then if you can, then open your atlas and observe these things as well. Like, try to locate where Bhutan is. Will you find Bhutan on the eastern side of Sikkim or in the western side? These are the things that you should think about. Take out 10 minutes and give 10 minutes to these two maps that you can see here. Okay, so far things are under control. Earlier on, there was a feeling like things will go out of control, but as far as I know, whatever I know so far, right, I think things are under control. Everything is under control. The reason is that if we go through today's front page of the Hindu newspaper, then you will find that Rajnath Singh has said that military talks between two sides have been positive. The most important thing is that talks are going on at two different levels, right? One is military level, talks are very positive. On the other side, foreign ministry of both nations are engaged with each other. They are having a discussion with each other. This reminds me of a late foreign minister, late and former foreign minister Sushma Swaraj. I still remember quite clearly that when this Doklam issue was going on, and Doklam issue continued for somewhere around 73, 74 days. I'm not sure about the exact date, but it was 70 days plus. So when this thing was going on in Rajya Sabha, Sushma Swaraj said that to end a war, you have to talk. To end a war, you have to have discussion. Then it's logical as well as it's sensible to have talks now so that there is no war, isn't it? That's very interesting observation, very important lesson in diplomacy, that to end a war, you have to have talks and discussion. So if you have talks and discussion now, you can get rid of war. There will be no war if we have a thorough discussion now. And that's the thing that is going on between India and China at present. So things are so far so good. Those people who are expecting that result should be, just like instant noodles, it doesn't work like that. You have to give a bit time to it. Like Doklam issue continued for 74 days. Things were very aggressive at that point of time. But look at now, it's been nearly 3 years. It took place back in 2017. And after that, we are seeing this thing. I'm not saying that every 3 years, if we are on an average every 3 years, we are seeing this sort of standoff, then that's good. No, we don't want to see this sort of standoff at all. But things are not out of control. And both sides have said this thing, and they are following this thing, that differences should not be allowed to escalate into disputes. One of the most important lessons from this 2017's Prime Minister's informal visit to Wuhan, that played a very important role in de-escalating things between these two nations. So it's all about time. We have to give some more time, and we have to be very careful to how to de-induct soldiers from this part. What India will ask for, India has already stated this thing clearly, that nothing short of their full withdrawal should satisfy or will satisfy India. What we want to see is, we want to see a normal situation. Normal means things that used to be few months ago. We want to see the same position, same situation, and nothing short of that. One more thing that we need to ask ourselves is that as a nation, when Home Minister Amit Shah, when he said in the parliament that a day will come when India will take back Aksai Chin. I think, and this editorial is also saying that from that point of time, China started preparing for this standoff. That's a question, right? It can be possible. China was also not happy with redrawing the Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh maps. And the reason why China was not happy is because China has heavily invested in this red line that you can see here. This is CPEC, that is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. So it's like a shortcut for China and a safe way for China to get oil as quickly as possible in the safest manner as possible from this point here. So rather than going through this Indian Ocean and Strait of Malacca, South China, and then you get your oil, this one is a shortcut from here, reach Gwadar port, and from Gwadar it will reach China, but it passes through Jammu and Kashmir. India said that India is not happy with this thing, right? This behavior of China is not acceptable. India clearly stated that you are constructing a road via a region that belongs to us, but illegally this region is occupied by Pakistan. China said that when this region will be under your control, we will negotiate with you. And this is one of the main reasons why India is not part of this BRI. India is not supporting BRI. This was just an additional information, but this is the reason why China was not happy or is not happy with new map of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Both are union territories. The defense minister has said that Chinese troops arrived in heavy numbers, and therefore the government must also study what intelligence was received ahead of such movement and when action was taken upon it. And when action was taken upon it. Finally, this is again a question that pops up in my mind, that we had two informal meetings between both the leaders, right? I have a photo as well for you guys. I will share it with you. We are going to talk about that e-diplomacy topic. So keep this point in your mind, hold this thought for now, right? Informal discussion between two leaders. Why it is important, I'll take you through it. Two informal discussions took place. Prime Minister Modi visited Wuhan back in 2017, and last year Xi Jinping was here in Mamallapuram. But then as well, we find this sort of standoff. So this is unfortunate, right, for both the nations and for the relationship. So this is the thing that bothers me. Like, after two informal meetings, if we are having standoff, then that's something is going wrong, isn't it? Okay, now let's move on to next item. It's about selling space. Very interesting article. It's very new. If you can look at it from this angle, from a long vision, then this is a new chapter. This is new chapter in the world of space. For the United States have sent two American astronauts to International Space Station, and this took place after a gap of 9 years that these astronauts have been launched from American soil. So that's a very interesting thing that took place after 9 years. More interesting thing is that this whole project was funded by NASA, but the rockets, or the rocket that was used, the capsule that was used, and the spacesuit that was used, this was designed by this company called SpaceX. And now I'm sure you know that SpaceX is a baby child of, or a company of, Elon Musk. Can you give me the name of a company that makes electric cars, right? This company belongs to Elon Musk as well. So what's the name of that particular company? Stick your answer in the comment section. And can you give me the name of these two astronauts, American astronauts, who were sent by this joint mission of NASA and SpaceX to space in recent past? Those students who are following this daily financial news analysis on regular basis, you'd be aware about this topic, because just a few days ago we were talking about this thing, isn't it? That how this is a big business and this is a new chapter. So here we find one editorial, selling space. This one is about this new entry of SpaceX. This is a new beginning of commerce in space. USA used to pay $80 million per astronaut to send them into space, right? Russia used to launch them from last few years, and for one astronaut you have to pay $80 million. This is expensive. Now SpaceX comes in to provide advantages in costs, in innovation and safety. So that's very interesting. The most interesting, the reason why we find American companies are so successful is because they have this attitude, right? This is the most resources and everything is important, no doubt about it. But later on, first you need to have this attitude. You need to have this attitude of willingness to fail. Willingness to fail means you accept failure, not as a failure that we accept here in Indian culture. I don't know why, but I see scary and people are so scared. I'm sorry if I'm hurting you by saying these words, but you need to be more stronger, less fearful. Fear is going to be there, but fear should not paralyze you. Fear is going to be there. Whatever you do, fear will be there, but it should not stop you. This is the most important thing. It's not like Americans are fearless. They also fear that things will go wrong, but they don't stop there. They move on. I'm talking about this space world. This applies to their Silicon Valley companies as well. So if you are preparing for civil services or any other examination, I'm not saying that you should fail. What I'm saying is that if you fail, it's okay. If you disqualify, it's okay. Trust me, it's okay. Fly, test, fail, fix. That's the mantra of SpaceX. What we can learn from this company? Fly, test, fail. If you fail, then fix it. Again, fly, test, fail, fix. That's how you will get success. If you go through the life of APJ Kalam, if you go through ISRO's history, then you will find that this nation, this ISRO, right, so many successful people, they have failed. But their failure is not permanent. Their failure is just a sort of hurdle, a sort of, not drawback, but the right word would be, anyway, failure, right? It's basically like a hurdle that you find, you don't cross it in one shot. So you have to try and you have to think, and then you find a new way to cross that hurdle. And when you come out of that thing, you are shining like a gold. That's what experience is all about. So NASA wants Elon Musk to find more customers, and Japanese billionaire Yasaku Maizawa, he is he's the person who has said that he has signed up for this potential traveler, as a potential traveler to moon and back. So this is a new chapter. This is the first step of interplanetary movement of human beings, and private company is playing a big role here. SpaceX is coming out with new technology, and NASA has partially outsourced innovation, testing, building new technologies, etc. to SpaceX. Now, of course, we have a very successful ISRO here, right? ISRO has been very successful in launching so many missions and satellites and so many other things, right? Mission on Mars and recently Chandrayaan 2. So there are so many things that ISRO has learned from its experience, from failures and success, and so many things. ISRO is also regarded as one of the most competitive a very reasonable launch pad of satellites and other things in this space. And there are so many things that private players can learn from ISRO. The good thing is, in recent past, Government of India has opened the door of space sector in our country for private players. This courting, or I would say this engagement, I won't term it as a marriage yet, but I would say this courting or this engagement period of ISRO and private player will play a very important role in creating a strong base. And again, I would say that willingness to fail, this should be our mantra. Fly, test, fail, and fix. We should not be afraid of failure. We are going to, I won't say lose, but we will invest money for something and we will get a different result, but that's okay. This is how it works. This will stop brain drain from our country. In fact, it can result into, we can turn around and make it into, we can have a 180-degree turn where we can get brain gain. Those people who are Indians who left India because they were not able to find something of their caliber in this country, they left for USA and so many other countries. They love India, right? And if that platform if that culture is provided to them, then they will come back as well and work for our nation. So if we can turn this brain drain situation into brain gain situation, There are so many small and medium enterprises, right? They can create so many various different parts for various different space shuttles and so many things. So new businesses, right? High quality jobs, labor jobs, every type of jobs we will generate in our country once we start this sort of mission. So it's a big thing and important for long-term future as well. Moving on to next one, it's about fighting sea blindedness. Now, sea blindedness is basically having a very narrow vision about Navy. Few days ago, one article was written in the Hindu newspaper, and that article was talking about Navy not being capable. We don't need Navy that much, and Army is the most important thing, and things like that, right? Now, Navy is important for our country because, first of all, we are a littoral state of Indian Ocean. That means roughly 7,500 kilometer long border that we have with Indian Ocean, right? Second thing, look at our strategic location. I'm sure you know that nothing is too far, nothing is too close, right? So that makes this location of our country a very important one. Then Indian Ocean is one of the most busiest oceans in the world. A maritime country like India can never be strong without a strong navy, since it depends on the sea for 97% of its stake or its trade, basically. So just this few points are more than enough to prove this thing, that naval power is important. We cannot take it lightly. We cannot have this sea blindedness, and we have to fight against this sea blindedness. Someone said that in 1965, in 1971, naval role was minimum, and the only time in the history of our country when we saw Navy in action was in 1971. Okay, it was big in 1971, right? But that does not mean that Navy has been in action only at that point of time. Navy is constantly in action, and if you see Air Force, if you see Army, if you see Navy, they have different roles. So you cannot compare them. It's not like Army is best or Navy is best or just Air Force is best. They have their own utility. They have their own expertise. But as far as reach is concerned, right, you can go anywhere. Your army cannot go here. I'm not saying that army is not good. Army is for territory. Keep this thing in mind. I don't want to see students taking it in other way, saying that army is not good. No, what I'm saying is, logically speaking, right, if you want, let's say if you want to do a mission in Madagascar, then your aircrafts will, yes, it can reach there, but they have different capacity. Your fighter jets cannot travel this long distance, but your navy can. You can take a sort of this aircraft carrier, and from there you can do anything you want in Madagascar. So that's what I mean. Like, reach of navy is quite wide. Horizon of navy is quite wide, and this was appreciated as well as noted by General Sam Manekshaw, Director General of Military Operations, Major General K.K. Singh. Anyway, if we talk about aircraft carrier, right, we have this long experience. Right after our independence, we leased aircraft carrier, and we have been using aircraft carrier for a very long period of time. Back in 1971, can you imagine this thing, that just one aircraft carrier was able to block this whole area? I'm talking about this East Pakistan, West Pakistan, or India-Pakistan war of 1971, this Bangladesh liberalization war. So this whole region was blocked just by one aircraft carrier. The relationship between aircraft carrier and a fighter jet is like of a mother and a child, or mother and a daughter, or mother and a son. So son or daughter is here your fighter jet, and but the mother is, of course, the aircraft carrier. So we were able to conduct some actions in Cox's Bazar and Chittagong because of this aircraft carriers and things. So Navy plays a very important role. Chinese Navy, they have their own indigenous aircraft carrier, but they don't have experience to master it. Having an aircraft carrier is a different thing. Mastering it is altogether a different thing. China's army may be strong when you compare it with India, but our navy, right, is far superior than Chinese navy, and India plays a very important role in this whole region of Indian Ocean, and of course we are part of now Indo-Pacific as well, very important, you can say, very important country when it comes to Indo-Pacific region. Security, of course, and free flow of goods and transportation in this Indo-Pacific region. India plays a very important role. Now, very quickly, we need to add more teeth. We need to have more aircraft carriers. We can create indigenous aircraft carriers, right? And for that, we need to have a long-term vision. The good thing about creating aircraft carrier is that, of course, it will add more muscles to our Navy, but at the same time, it will help our economy as well. Just imagine large number of industries and MSMEs involved in the whole supply chain. Then, of course, it will add more weight to our dream, or it will give us more, you can say, a sort of push factor in achieving this dream of becoming a global power, right? Of course, we have 1.18% global population. We are this strong in so many areas. So, global power, not like bullying someone. Global power is like a proper leader, right? That will look after everyone. So these are the things. So we need to get rid of this sea blindedness, because Navy is, of course, a very important organ of our country. Then we come to a very interesting article. It's about EDiplomacy. Now, dear friends, a few days ago, we have gone through this India-Australia relationship. Video conference took place between Scott Morrison and Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi. And the topics that were discussed were this military interoperability and joint tackling COVID-19. Our relationship has been upgraded to comprehensive strategic partnership. Now, there are some positive points about e-summits. They are physically safer for leaders and also time-saving and economical as well. It's very cheap compared to Prime Minister and this full delegation visiting a country, or someone else visiting our country, and Prime Minister is well experienced in this sort of e-conferencing, right? The first one was conducted on 15th March, SAARC leaders video conference. Remember that Prime Minister Modi declared an amount for SAARC fund, a sort of fund for COVID-19. Can you give me the figure that how much was contributed by India? Second incident was G20 Leaders Summit, and the third one few days ago. Not few days ago, I mean a month ago, few weeks ago, non-aligned movement virtual summit. So we are experienced. Our Prime Minister is a bit experienced, but the thing that is, you can say, coincide or demerit of e-diplomacy is that it cannot always deliver that result. When you find two leaders interacting and meeting each other, like you can see on your screen here, right? Observe where they are at present. They're in Israel, of course. This is Benjamin Netanyahu. This is our Prime Minister Modi. Can you see any sort of camera? When I say cameras, I mean to say any sort of mic over there. Is anyone closer to this two gentlemen here? No one is there, right? They are alone. That means they can talk about informal things. They can share their man ki baat type thing, what is going on in their heart, how they see India, how they see their country and other country and multilateral things and other things. They can talk about all these things. You can see the same thing here. And this is the one that I was talking about. This was like when last year Xi Jinping, he was here in Mamallapuram. And this was the second meeting, informal meeting that took place between India and China. And the first one delivered the result, the second one has delivered result as well. So this thing is not available on e-platform. That's the problem. When two nations, right? It's not just about two leaders. This whole team. Before the visit, you find, foreign secretary visiting that country, or their foreign secretary coming here, and then you find ambassadors engaging with each other. Then foreign minister will travel, or their minister will come here, and then you will see Prime Minister will go there, or their Prime Minister President will come here. So this is how it works. So for now, of course, e-diplomacy is the only option that is available, but this should not be the main thing. You can use it whenever you want, but it's going to be for light matters. For proper, solid deliverables, you need to have physical interaction when it comes to nations. And there is always a threat of cyber insecurity when you are online, isn't it? Moving on to next item, resume dialogue with Nepal now. Now this one is not too difficult to understand topic, because as we have talked about this thing earlier as well, this is about this India and Nepal's border issue that has been in news, unfortunately, from last few weeks. Now, India and Nepal, we know that they share a very interesting relationship with each other. This whole thing started after India issued this official map of Jammu and Kashmir. Right? China was not happy with it because of Jammu and Kashmir thing. We can understand that because of the CPEC. Right? Where is it? Here. So China protested this new Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh map. That's okay. We can understand because their CPEC is there. The reason why Nepal is unhappy with India, there are two things that comes in my mind. The first one is that the Communist Party that is at present ruling Nepal. So this Communist Party is invisibly supported by China. So this point number one. The second thing is lack of understanding. The reason I'm saying this thing is because this road, this is about a road construction. It was going on for a very long period of time. It is just that on 8th May, Rajnath Singh, Defense Minister of India, he tweeted saying that he is delighted to inaugurate the link road to Mansarovar Yatra today. The BRO achieved road connectivity from Darchula to Lipulekh, known as Kailash Mansarovar Yatra route. And now you are saying on 8th May, Nepal is expressing its objection about this whole thing. So where was this government when this construction was going on? It's only during inauguration that you are expressing your disappointment with India. The other thing is Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, he used some very harsh word for India. He said that this Indian virus is more damaging than Chinese virus. He said that he also questioned India's faith in Satyameva Jayate and other things. The reason I'm saying is because we have a very unique relationship. Remember, dear friends, a few days ago we were talking about this thing that we have roti beti ka relationship, like we have matrimonial relationship, we have military relationship, Gurkha rifles we have here, right? And Gurkha people, they have been here for a time immemorial. They are part of us, right? We love them, they love us. There are 3 million Nepalese people living in our country. We have lakhs of Indians, they are living over there. As I told you, matrimonial relationship. If you go back in the history or this Ramayana, right? Ramayana also says that there is a connection of Sitaji with Nepal. So I cannot there is no time limit, and people to people contact is also great between the people of India and Nepal. So this sort of politics is not going to help both the nations. And things are clearly mentioned in this Treaty of Sugoli that was signed between British East India Company, then British East India Company, and the government of Nepal, then government of Nepal. And it was clearly mentioned that in future as well you will not claim any sort of thing, because earlier on, before a war, the western part of Nepal was as far as Sutlej River, and eastern part of Nepal was as far as Tista River. But at present it is, it is what it is at present because of this 1816. After this 1816 treaty. So where is this Mahakali River? It is clearly mentioned here, and now Nepal is claiming that the origin is bit higher. So if you agree with this higher origin, then that, as per that claim, this Kalapani and Lipulekh will fall under Nepal's territory. So the best thing that we can do is we can renew this boundary committee. They can work out, right? Rather than fighting, it is better that they work out problems within themselves. And then you have some news items here. The first one is about India-China. Rajnath Singh said that military level talks are quite positive. Marginal decrease in daily cases. MSME revival package yet to take off. LG overrules Delhi government's order to restrict COVID-19 treatment. 4 local militants killed in Sopian. INS Shardul evacuates 233 from Iran. And the last one is New Zealand is corona free now. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.